Hi everyone, what is up? So I am talking today about elementary age students. So we had just moved on we did infants from like 5 months to a year, and then we did toddlers. Now we're into our elementary age, which is super fun because hopefully they don't have cell phones yet and they're just chit-chatting with you. They want to be with you. They still sit on your lap. They cuddle with you. Even my fifth grader will let me hug him and hold him sometimes. And I just cherish it because I know that it's going to be gone before too long. So today's topic is raising your kids to be independent. That is the biggest thing, is keeping them having that ability to make their own choices. So when they're really little, you are making every choice for them, which is exhausting, but then it becomes your identity. You know, at first, when you first have a kid, you lose your sense of identity. It can be very tough. I talk about that a little bit in one of the first videos, but then it becomes you. You're used to making them food, telling them no, telling them yes. So one thing that I do is, a lot of times my kids, when they started playing with other friends, they would say, "Mom, is it okay if I go and eat this at their house?" And I'd go, it's okay to make your own choice. I'm not always going to be there. And I know that I've taught you the good choices to make. Sometimes you're going to choose to make other choices. That's okay. Just keep in mind how you feel when you make it. And taking a step back from that control. So you guys know, if you've been watching my videos, that I work a lot with different corporations. One thing that I found as women, especially in the corporate world or the working world, working moms, we tend to be a little bit type A personality. So if you're a type A personality and you like to have total control over everything, take a step back and be like, you know what? I can't have control over everything. So let me not pick on the small stuff. Having your child choose their own snacks is a small thing. That's a great way to get them to be independent. Now, different ways to help out is only have healthier options available. Then they're gonna only be able to choose the apple or the banana, the handful of mixed nuts, or I don't know, the frozen fruit or the yogurt that you have. So if you take away certain temptations, then it allows you to give them that independence. But just like when they were really little and you gave them choices, which pajamas do you want to wear? The red or the blue? Not, do you want to put on your pajamas? This is the same idea. Oh, sure. Make your own choices on what snack to choose. You're a big kid now. You should be able to choose your own snacks. And yet everything available are going to be good choices because you're really actually making these choices for them, but they're thinking they're making it. That is a big key, is do the hard choices for them ahead of time, but let them think that they have free will and that they're making these choices for themselves. So I really do like to give them that opportunity to go and make sure that they understand when they're at their friends' houses, I don't know what they're doing. If they're playing video games the whole time, well, I'm not there to tell them not to. But when they're in my house, they have other options to do. There are board games, there are ways for them to go outside and ride their bikes. So they get to make their own choices, and I let them know specifically, it's your choice. Make a smart choice, but you choose ultimately how you're going to behave around your friend. I also choose their friends for them, which they don't realize. That could be a whole nother topic. But another thing that I love doing is all our kids have watches, and I have a 10-year-old, 9-year-old, 7-year-old. We live in a neighborhood, thank goodness, that's extremely safe and fun and old school, where my kids walk to school and it's a mile door to door. It's raining out today, and I know Southern California never rains, but it's raining today. Guess what? They walked in the rain. I don't care. I walked in the snow. They can walk in the rain. So they get to walk to school together. And one of the things is, in growing up nowadays, parents are so afraid to let their kids outside. I don't think that there's any scientific evidence that shows nowadays is more dangerous than before. The problem is we are stuck on the fact that we are constantly able to connect to everybody in this world. I do not allow my children to have cell phones. I say, you guys have a watch. And this started when my oldest son was about 7 years old. And so the other ones were 7, 6, and then 4, okay? And it was a neighborhood, at the time we lived in an apartment complex that was gated, so they couldn't leave it, which I found out later they did leave it, and they just were able to get back in. Anyway, things you find out as a parent later on. So you give them a parameter. Hey, listen, you got to watch. You start out with a really little, 30 minutes. It's very helpful if you live by people with older children, like neighbors that have older kids. You're like, okay, go play with the older kids. Then you start feeling more comfortable. When your kids are the older ones, you get to start that and be like, okay, like ask the neighbors to come out and play. You guys want to play baseball? Well, there's a baseball diamond quarter mile from the house. Go knock on all your friends' doors and see if they want to get a game together. I started letting them out for, especially during COVID, 2-3 hours at a time, and say, you got your watch, be back on time. The thing is with my family, my husband and I, we are very strict about time. So if they're even a minute late, they get in trouble. So they know if you're on time, you're 5 minutes early. So if they're not back 5 minutes early, they know they better be running. So what I would do though is I would ask their friends' parents and say, hey, listen, my kids are going to go out. Are you comfortable sending your kids out? Oh my God, your kids don't have a cell phone. What are we supposed to do? I don't know. What do we do if our kid gets hurt? And I'd say, when you were a kid, did you go out? Yeah, we were out until the sun went down. It was dinner time. I know, me too. It's healthy for our kids to have that sense of independence when they're younger. So what happened if you got hurt when you were younger? Well, we'd probably run home bloody, crying. Exactly. So I look at my older son and I say, David, what are you supposed to do if you get hurt over at the gyms where they ride their bikes and stuff? What do you do if you get hurt and I'm not around? Well, I find the nearest adult that I know and let them know to call you or get help from them, or I walk up the hill home hurt. Exactly. And I looked at my kids' friends' parents, and I said, they know what to do. We have to give them that ability to make that choice. Because the last thing I want is for my children to go off to college and think, finally, I'm free. Because first of all, they have their cell phones. They're never really free because you're probably tracking them more in college than you are in elementary school. But I don't want them to go buck wild and crazy. I want them to be like, yeah, I've always been able to go out exploring with my friends. I don't mind that they're like jumping in the puddles or under the bridge. Again, I live in a neighborhood that's safe. So this is all relative to where you live. Chances are you want to try to live somewhere where you feel comfortable, where there are kids out riding around enjoying nature, whatever you have, and close enough to a good school. That'd be awesome. Another thing that I recommend, what I've told people, my kids this past year, they started riding their bikes like further distances. They had a time, of course, and my older son, I give him longer times than my other 2 kids. But I said, okay, you can ride your bike over to the game shop or whatever, where they buy Pokemon cards with their friends. And other parents were like, well, I don't know, I'm so nervous to let them bike there. There's sidewalks the whole way, but yes, they do have to cross some streets. And I said, well, if it makes you feel better, follow them at a distance. Take a look to see how they react when they are out being independent. Are they following the directions? Are they on the sidewalk? Do they stop at the red lights? You can watch that, and oftentimes what I notice is your kids, they follow the rules much better when you're not looking at them. When you're watching them, there's that sense of security where they just go. Whatever, mom will tell me when to stop. But when they're by themselves, they actually do pay more attention to their own safety. Now, I let my kids go once. We were going to Arizona for a trip. And I wasn't buying any food for the last couple of days because, when you go away, you don't have to stock up the fridge. So we were out of eggs. So my older son comes upstairs. He said, I really wanted eggs. And I said, well, you've got a bike, you've got a wallet, go bike to Ralph's and get yourself some eggs, which is like 2 miles away on a busy street. And he said, really? I said, yeah, go ahead. Get your siblings, see if they'll go with you, and go take a trip to Ralph's. So he gets his brother and sister together. They're like, hey, we can go on a bike ride all together. Let's get our wallets. Maybe we'll stop at Baskin Robbins. Now, it's 9 a.m. I know Baskin Robbins is closed. I'm pretending not to listen, okay? And I'm like, whatever, let them, even if they wanted to stop and get ice cream. That's exactly what siblings and friends are supposed to do together. So they come out, they got their backpacks. They're like, okay, Mom, we're going. Perfect. Be safe, follow the directions, stick together. They leave. About 5 minutes in, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what if somebody calls me and complains or reports me to child services for letting my kids go on their own? Yeah, I get in my own head. So I get in my car, I drive to the grocery store. They're already there by this time. And I park back. I see that their bikes are just thrown right in front of the door, okay? Typical children. And I'm watching and I'm taking pictures, and they come out and they got bags of candy. And they're just sitting there and they're shoveling candy in their mouth. One goes back in to get a bottle of water. They're hanging out, they're talking. All 3 of them are together and they're just laughing and having a good time. And they're eating candy. These are the memories that I want them to make, that they can only make because I'm not controlling it. I don't want them to have that mindset when they're an adult or going off to college for the first time. Let them get it out of the way now in something super innocent as well as safe. Then they hop back on the bike. They all stay together. They start riding. I follow at a distance, and then eventually I can pass. I get home. I take the dog out. I'm walking the dog. They ride back up like nothing ever happened. They go, hey, Mom, we had so much fun. Thanks for letting us go. We can't wait to go again. Oh, awesome. Very cool. Did you get the eggs? Oh, I forgot the eggs. It's okay. We're not really hungry. Okay, cool. Like nothing ever happens. So you have to be able to provide these independent times. And again, if you're not comfortable with them completely out independent, take the first couple times or the first time only and follow them at a distance. You might surprise yourself. Most likely you'll surprise yourself at how responsible your child will be. Will they get into things that, will they knock on somebody's door and run? Maybe. But let that natural consequence happen. Because again, you want them feeling that sense of independence before they are actually completely independent from you. Then they're more likely to come and talk to you. They told me all about the candy that they bought later on that day. Oh, guess what, Mom? You wouldn't believe it. We actually had a lot of candy and we bought tons of gum that we ate. Oh, okay. Sure. It's your money. You made your choice. That's fine. Take a deep breath. Understand that you don't have total control over everything and that there are certain things that are not worth arguing over. And there are certain things you can do to provide a sense of independence and growth for them. Give them that opportunity. And again, you're behind the scenes actually making the choices for them, which is pretty cool. And they don't know, and they're not going to know until they're much older. I hope you have a phenomenal day, night, year, week, whatever. If you have any particular questions, please send me a message down below. I would love to discuss other topics with you. If you are interested in your corporation hiring me on the side, then that's something you can send me a private message to discuss as well. I hope you guys are having a great day. You are amazing. If no one told you that already, you are awesome. You are trying to better yourself as a parent, and that is something incredible to do. And we can always grow and learn. Have a great one.